Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So absolutely massive news, or well, I personally think it's massive news for Custodes and Sisters of Silence players. Now, for those of you who are not aware, we had some of the rules drop for Valerian and Alea the other day. It got posted on Reddit. GW has just dropped the article on it now. I'm going to go through them all and stuff like that, as I normally do when they drop this kind of stuff. But the big thing is at the end of this article, because there is a keyword called Talons of the Emperor, which means that this is going to be absolutely massive when it comes to playing Custodes and Sisters. So let's jump in and let's get talking. So why is this a big deal? Now, we'll go into a bit more details with the rules just in a second, but just to give you an overlay of what really is the big deal about this is that in their rules, Alea and Valerian have to be deployed together. You can't deploy Alea without Valerian, you can't deploy Valerian without Alea. That is how it's stated in their rules. But the problem that people saw was that in their keywords, it didn't match. So if you was to deploy Valerian or deploy Valea, then you would lose your battle forge for your army. And so people were like, what the hell is going on? We can't even use these chaps in like match plays. It's just for like special kind of one-off games with friends and stuff like that. What is GW even doing with these rules? There was a lot of confusion. But now GW has come out with this article stating the intention of why they've done that. So basically what they're saying here in the article, I'll actually quote it, it says, if you're up to speed with all the latest rule developments in Chapter Approved 2019, you'll notice that by having the Imperium faction keyword on their combined datasheets, Valerian and Alea cannot currently join an Adeptus Custodes detachment without the latter losing their Battle Forge bonus. However, you need not worry, for it won't be long before both factions will be able to fight as one once more when Talons of the Emperor join the epic battles of the Pyschic Awakening. This is absolutely massive news for me because I love the Sisters of Silence. I've always said I prefer the Sisters of Silence over the Sisters of Battle. Sisters of Silence have that way more rule of cool factor. It was really devastating, like when we got the Custode book, I was like, oh, look at all these glorious Custode models. They're amazing. Jet bikes, you know, you got the all the Contemptor Dreadnoughts, you know, everything that went along with it. It was amazing. And then to learn that their codex was just for the Adeptus Custodes, I was like, well, where's the Sisters of Silence? These chaps work best when they're working together. That makes no sense. And of course, with the lore that we have now with 8th edition, the Sisters have returned. It's not like they've been extinct or anything like that, so it makes no sense. And if you looked at the Sisters of Silence range, they don't really have that much. They have like these psychic rhinos or no rhinos, whatever they're called. They have some bolters and some swords people, and that's it. They had no HQ. Of course, technically, Alea now is a HQ. She is a named character and stuff like that. But the big thing is that they will now conform and they will have the keyword Talons of the Emperor. So you can deploy the Sisters and, well, you can eventually deploy the Sisters and the Custodes as one force and not lose any of that Battle Forge bonuses and stuff like that. So you can work them hand in hand. I can have Custodes and a squad of Sisters. Say I'm going against bloody Thousand Suns. I can have the Sisters, you know, shielding and then send my Custodes in to start smashing all those, you know, vile heretics up. It really makes that massive difference. And I personally think that it will make Custodes kind of viable again on the tabletop, because at the moment they did receive a points nudge up, which was pretty devastating because Custodes at the moment are, I personally think, are not in the best of places. And I was just waiting to see if the Pyschic Awakening would kind of fix that. And from what I'm looking at now, from this little preview, I think it's going to be a massive, glorious change for the Custodes. And hopefully what this means, maybe, just maybe, that we'll actually get some new Sisters of Silence models now that they're actually being folded in with the Custodes. The Custodes have a decent amount of models. Of course, I would like new models. I always love new models. But the Sisters of Silence are the ones that deserve the new models. I want these epic kind of characters. I want them to have like the jet bikes, the hover rhinos that they had in, you know, the lore back in the day. They deserve that type of love. And I think if GW give it, then it will sell really, really well. Look at the Sisters of Battle. Yes, you can say Sisters of Battle are more known than Sisters of Silence. Yeah, I completely understand that. But I do think the Sisters of Silence will be a force that everyone would jump onto, just as long as GW give us a content to jump on with. Anyway, onto the rules themselves from these two new, let's call them special characters, part of the Black Library thing. Now, I have to say, the rules don't really make them pop for me. People could disagree, but I don't think there's anything special about them. Yes, they have some decent stuff, but is it really going to be game changing, or oh boy, this guy's going to cause a massive problem? Like Valoris is an absolute beast. He will chop you up, but then again, he is the Captain General, so you can't really compare a shield captain to the Captain General. But as a character from the lore and some of the escapades and some of the stuff that they did in the lore, I did kind of think that maybe just slightly they would buff them more than they have, but I'm not complaining. It's a new Custodian model, it's a new Sisters of Silence model. For me, as someone who's not really a tournament player, I just like having new models and to look at, and I think they're all, shiny and epic like that. So let's start with Big Boy Valerian. So his base stats are Movement 6, Weapon Skill 2+, Ballistic Skill 2+, Strength 5, Toughness 5, Wounds 6, Attacks 5, Leadership 9, and Save is +2. Nothing really spicy there as a Custodes. Custodes aren't beastly like that. Now for his weapon, Geonosis, it's a fancy little weapon he has. So when it comes to his shooting, range is 24, type is Rapid Fire 1, Strength 4, AP -1, and damage is 2. Now, with the same weapon, when you're in melee range, so range melee, type melee, it is strength +2, so that means he's strength 7. When he's attacking you, he's got 5 attacks. Hopefully, they'll get something in their book like what Space Marines got, where if you get to charge or you get charged as a Custodes, you get more attacks. It would actually be nice, maybe you get double the amount of attacks or something, or ×2 attack. I don't know, something that makes them stand out more than Space Marines, because when I think of Space Marines charging and I think of Custodes charging, surely it's the Custodes should be going in there, ripping people apart. They're the ones that are known for this epic type of like melee and massive awesome warriors. So again, range melee, type melee, strength is 2+, so it's a 7, AP -3, and the damage is D3, so that's nice. So potentially you can be putting out a lot of damage if the dice gods are on your side. He gets something called Inspirational Fighter. Reroll hit rolls of 1 made for attacks made by models in friendly Adeptus Custodes units within 6 inches of this model, of course, because he's a shield captain. Golden Laurels as well. Once per battle, when resolving an attack made with a Geonosis by this model, you can reroll either the hit roll, the wound roll, or the damage roll. Is that just one, or is that all of them? Once per battle, when resolving an attack made with Geonosis by this model, you can reroll either the hit roll, the wound roll, or the damage roll. Okay, so that's I think that applies to everything. So it's not just like one dice or anything like that. It's all the damages and all the rolls and all the wound rolls and stuff like that. Well, that's how I'm reading it anyway. Right, let's go on to Alea. So Alea's base stats are Movement 7, Weapon Skill 2+, Ballistic Skill 3+, Strength 5, Toughness 3, Wounds 5, Attacks 4, Leadership 9, and the save is 3+. Her blade, her special blade called Somnus Blade, type melee, range melee of course, strength is +1, so she is strength 4 when attacking, AP is -3, and the damage is D3, just like Valerian's as well. By the way, if you haven't read The Emperor's Legion by Chris Ray, the next book is coming out, you really should. It is by far one of the greatest 40k novels I've read. The first one, the Emperor's Legion, happens right before the Great Rift, during the Great Rift, and like directly after the Great Rift. And I've got to say, there's a Siege of Terror thrown in there. No spoilers, but oh my holy Emperor, it is godly what happens. She gets a special ability called Witch Hunter. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by this model against a Psyche unit, you can re-roll the wound roll. Nice. Kill all the Thousand Suns. Absolutely heretics. Another thing called Psychic Abomination. This model cannot be targeted or affected by psychic powers. In addition, when a psychic or deny the witch test is taken for an enemy model, subtract 1 from the total for each unit from your army with this ability that is within 18 inches of that enemy model, to a maximum of -4. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. That sounds awesome. I'm just gonna cake them just with all the sisters and then the Custodes coming in the background going, for the Emperor, this shot. Oh, it's gonna be so good. And the last thing is Talons of the Emperor, like we just mentioned at the start of the video. Talons of the Emperor. During deployment, every model in this unit must be set up at the same time, though they do not need to be set up in a unit coherency. From that point onwards, each model is treated as a separate unit. So that's what I mean about Talons of the Emperor, that you had to, you had to set them up and everyone was like, oh, well, it's not going to work properly, Battleforged, everything like that. So it's great to see the intentions now from GW and what they have planned for the Custodes. I am really, 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 really excited. If you haven't seen my Custode force, I'm mad for it. I really am mad for it. I'll put a little link up in the top right corner for my full-on Custode force I've got. I love them. I absolutely love Custodes. Ever since I read that the Emperor has bodyguards, it's like, what? The Emperor has bodyguards? How badass do these guys need to be? So yeah, I was completely hooked. So I'm really looking forward now to this Psychic Awakening book with the Custodes, and then hopefully it's going to be packed out with a ton of Sisters of Silence stuff. I really, really am. Well, I say Sisters of Silence stuff. Talons of the Emperor stuff that will also feature and, you know, give a lot of advancements to the Sisters of Silence. I've got a massive grin on my face. Right, that's enough for me. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching, as always. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you've got any thoughts, feedback, anything like that, leave it down below in the comment section, and we'll have a nice little talk about it down there. Any Custodes fans in the chat? Come on, raise those golden spears, brothers. We shall march in the Emperor's name one more time.